everyone, either welcome or welcome back to my channel. In case you couldn't tell, either from my top 5 favorite musicals video or things I've said in other videos, I'm really interested in the art of theater. Musicals, plays, playwrights, actors, the process of how theater works. Now that I've introduced that, I figured it would be right to make a history and evolution installment about the theater industry. But that industry is too old and has been through too much history to cover in just 1 or even 2 videos. So this is going to be an entire sub-series. Theater dates back not to the turn of the century or even 500 years ago with Shakespeare. No, it dates all the way back to the hundreds BC with ancient Greek theater. In fact, the word theater comes from the Greek word for place of seeing. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now let's get started! Greek theater began in Athens in the 6th century BCE with the performance of tragedies at religious festivals where Greek gods were worshipped. Historians have found that the first Greek tragedies were linked to the worship of Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, who, quite fittingly, also earned a title as the god of theater. What little evidence there is tells us that these tragedies were based on ancient Greek myths and poems. Tragedy comes from the term goat song, quite likely a reference to either the goat sacrifice to Dionysus before performances or the goat skins worn by performers. Or maybe both? At first, these tragedies were performed by a single actor, which then extended into 3 actors before evolving into the infamous Greek chorus. Another origin of ancient Greek tragedies is the dithyrambs, or songs sung in praise of Dionysus, formalized by the poet Arion. Greek theater started out solely as tragedies, but there eventually came Greek comedies, though no one knows what their origins are to date. Out of these 2 came satyr plays, which approached the mythological subject matter in a comedic fashion. Thespis is the first and only known actor from ancient Greek theater, but he's better known for being a poet, and more specifically, the quote-unquote inventor of tragedy. Most of what we know now about Thespis today comes from Aristotle, particularly that Thespis sang a lot of dithyrambs. In fact, the term thespian for an actor or actress comes from Thespis. Thespis is the only known actor from ancient Greece, so the most notable figures in ancient Greek theater are probably the playwrights. First, there's Aeschylus, who's known as the father of tragedy. One of his greatest contributions to Greek theater is that he expanded the number of characters in a play and allowed conflict among them rather than having them only be allowed to interact with the chorus. Aeschylus is estimated to have written 70 to 90 plays over the course of his career, but all but 7 of said plays died out over time. His surviving plays to date include Persians, 7 Against Thieves, Suppliants, Oresteia, and Prometheus Bound, though there's some debate among historians about whether Aeschylus did, in fact, write the latter. Whereas Aeschylus was the father of tragedy, Aristophanes was the father of comedy, with many of his plays lampooning notable figures of ancient Athens, particularly famous Greek philosopher Socrates. Aristophanes' plays include Babylonians, Acharnians, Clouds, Wasps, Birds, Women at the Ecclesia, and most notably, Lysistrata. One of many said figures Aristophanes made fun of in his plays was yet another playwright, Euripides. Euripides' two most notable works are probably Medea and the Trojan Women, but other plays he's written included the Bacchae, Alcestis, Hippolytus, and Electra, among others. The fourth among the notable Greek playwrights is Sophocles. Sophocles is known for writing Oedipus Rex, the first of the Theban plays, which I mentioned during the psychoanalysis section of my literary criticism video. And if you remember what I discussed in that part, this play is not for kids. Sophocles really pushed boundaries with that play, especially at his time. But he did write some other plays, albeit ones that are often forgot about in favor of Oedipus Rex, but are worth mentioning. These include Ajax, Women of Trachis, and Philoctetes. Theaters in ancient Greece were called theatrons. They were outdoors and constructed on the slopes of hills. Greek theatrons had three parts to them. The first of these was the orchestra, a rectangular area in which the play, dance, and religious rites of a performance took place. Behind the orchestra was the scene, which is equivalent to the backstage area of modern theaters. Originally, a skene took the form of a tent or hut. It eventually started to take the form of a permanent stone structure. Skene is where actors changed their costumes, which is something I'll discuss later. The audience rose from the circle of the orchestra and contained up to 14,000 people. When most people think of ancient Greek theater costumes, they think of the masks actors wore, which eventually led to comedy and tragedy masks serving as a symbol for the theater industry. These masks were made of lightweight material such as wood, cork, or linen, and as such, they weren't very durable and didn't last long. These masks had exaggerated expressions to help define the characters actors were playing and also help audience members sitting farther away see the actors' faces better. All masks looked very different and came in many different forms depending on the character that was being played by the wearer. As were other costume pieces in ancient Greek theater. Actors playing Athenian characters, or characters from the city-state of Athens, wore decorated tunics and peplos, while those playing non-Athenian characters wore more outlandish and flamboyant clothing on stage. Only men were allowed to act in plays, but there were female characters in these plays, so male actors playing female characters wore body stockings with a progestrata and prosternata as a way to give them breasts. Scenery or set pieces usually took the form of an ekleklema, literally meaning wheel out. An ekleklema was a large wheeled platform that could be rolled out to display scenes that couldn't fit on the stage but were important to the plot of the play. As Greek theater continued to grow in popularity throughout the Hellenistic period, it influenced the ancient Romans, who developed plays and theater of their own. Thank you so much for watching. Watch out for the next part of this mini-series, in which I'm going to talk about how theater evolved in the hundreds AD and the Middle Ages. See you then. Bye!